while so many people are whining and complaining and acting like America's doomed into an era of fascism, it would be smart just to go through the entirety of Donald Trump's agenda. And, of course, going through Donald Trump's entire agenda would be a little bit exhausting. However, Donald Trump a year ago put out an assortment of videos, 14 in total, going over exactly what he's going to do when he becomes president, mostly just going over the highlights. So I'll give you guys my thoughts on all this stuff. And by the way, if you're one of those people who thinks that Donald Trump is just here to be president so that he can, I don't know, beat up and assault women and deport non-whites from the country, I would recommend for you guys to just watch these videos and see if anything that Donald Trump is outlining here lines up with your preconceived notion of Donald Trump and who he is. Because I think, it's one thing to be all hysterical, be like, oh, America's going to die. It's another thing to actually look, with a clear-sighted view on the, political reality that's happening in America. So yeah, there is that I would recommend. But without further ado, let's get into it. The first video is Agenda 47. America must have the #1 lowest cost energy and electricity on Earth.
If America is going to dominate the world in manufacturing once again, as it did when I was running things, you remember when they used to say you can't have manufacturing jobs in our country anymore? I said, really, why? And we created hundreds of thousands of them. But we must be the most affordable energy and electricity place anywhere on the planet. We have to have affordable energy. Right now we have energy that's weak, substandard, and unaffordable. It's made by the wind. The windmills rust, they rot, they kill the birds. It's the most expensive energy there is. And we have other things that are also no good. It's called the Green New Deal. I call it the Green New Hoax. One of the reasons manufacturing jobs were flooding back into the United States when I was president was that we dramatically reduced energy costs. Sadly, crooked Joe Biden sacrificed this tremendous economic advantage on the altar of the Green New Deal, perhaps because he was bribed by Communist China or because Communist China knows all of the money that they've paid him. We have a Manchurian candidate. That's what he is. He's a
I don't know that this is entirely true. I don't think that Joe Biden got bribed either. I actually think this is it was a completely politicized move, a political move. If you look at gas prices under Joe Biden, they're at a fine low level, the level that Donald Trump left them in. Under Joe Biden, gas prices were fine. They spiked up and then they went back down. What Joe Biden essentially did was he said, you know what? We're not going to sign any more, fracking permits. And that was on day one, by the way. He said that. We're not going to sign any more fracking permits. I think he signed an executive order to that effect. And then that, of course, caused energy costs to spike up. And then what he did was he was like, oh, this is maybe a problem. So he decided to tap our emergency reserves and basically drain them down to the bone. I don't know if they're depleted, but they're certainly at like record low levels now. And then after a while, he was like, you know what? Maybe we should actually start manufacturing oil again. So we started signing more oil and fracking permits again. To me, that signals a concerted effort to create the illusion that Joe Biden did things to help the economy. It's like setting, fire to your house and then putting it out and being like, hey, look at me, I put out a fire. Like, well, you did start the fire too. That's my personal conspiracy theory, I suppose, of why Joe Biden did what he did with energy. This is not anything that he's, confessed to or whatever, but this is just my opinion here. I don't think it's because he was paid off by China. I don't know the information to say that.
Manchurian candidate. They know everything about him, and he's scared stiff. He won't do a thing. I take in hundreds of billions of dollars from China, and Joe Biden's afraid to even talk to him. Biden's war on American energy has sent prices soaring, and his latest actions will make it catastrophically worse. It's going to be bad at a level that we've never...
Catastrophically worse. This is September 2023. Gas prices are almost at Trump levels, so that did not end up being true.
We're saying this will be so bad. Under Biden's newly proposed power plant regulations, most natural gas and coal plants will be forced to shut down. By the way, they tried that in Germany, and now they're going back and building coal plants all over the place because they've destroyed Germany. They have no energy. So Germany now is building a coal plant every 2 weeks. And China is building a coal plant every week, every single week. They're putting up a new coal plant. And we're playing games with the wind. This is terrible what's happening to our country. There is nothing to replace.
You know, he's kind of right. One thing that boggles my mind is like, why is there a greater focus on wind than solar? Solar is I think more reliable. The sun, more or less, is always going to be here. The global warming, whatever the liberals complain about, what does that mean? The bees just have more sun? No, I'm being a little bit facetious there, but but in all seriousness, like, you know, it may be windy, it may not be. But, you know, one thing we do know, generally speaking, is that we'll always have the sun around here, especially in like areas that are, you know, kind of like a desert biome, so to speak, for lack of a better word. So yeah, I do agree that wind is not the greatest thing. However, I will say that, like, if you have a greater diversity of energy sources, it can be harder for your energy to get shut down. And also it gives you, you know, a way to truly evaluate, you know, which energy source is best. So I would love to see wind, solar, oil, and nuclear power all competing. And then the best technology wins. That's the way I think that it should be. You know, I get that there are dangers with with wind, but there actually might be some circumstances in which, you know, a wind farm might actually be beneficial. I don't think it needs to be widespread, but I don't think we need to cut ourselves off from the idea of like using it ever as a source of energy.
Our energy at this time, not even close. It's very expensive and it's very weak. It doesn't have the power to power up those big plants that you see. At the same time as Biden is shutting down existing power plants, he also wants to force hundreds of millions of Americans into ultra expensive electric vehicles. They cost twice as much as what you have. And what you have is better, and it goes a lot longer. And it's a lot easier to fill up. And we have liquid gold under our feet at a level that no other country has.
True.
But they'll strain the grid to the breaking point. It already is at a breaking point. If you look at California, it's got brownouts and blackouts every single day.
Crazy.
People can't turn on their air conditioners. And it'll drive electricity prices into the stratosphere. If Biden's policies go forward, our electricity costs will be the highest on earth. They're already very close. With shortages, blackouts, and crippling inflation, U.S. manufacturing will be dead, absolutely dead, and China will be laughing all the way to the bank. They will end up controlling the world. My plan is the exact opposite. As president, I will set a national goal of ensuring that America has the #1 lowest cost of energy of any industrial country anywhere on earth.
Yeah,
I want
boy.
to be number
Let's
one.
go.
We were energy independent just 3 years ago, and now we're begging Venezuela for their oil.
That's
and yet we have
crazy.
many times more than
That's
any other country.
crazy.
There's no country, Saudi Arabia, Russia, nobody, no country has what we have. We will develop the liquid gold that is right under our feet, including American oil and natural gas, and we will also embrace nuclear, clean coal, hydropower, which is fantastic, and every other form of affordable energy to get it done. We will not only match China, we will be cheaper than China by a lot, and more energy will mean lower inflation, and it'll mean more jobs. I will cancel Biden's ruinous power plant rule, terminate his electric vehicle mandate. If you want to buy an electric car, that's fine, but you're going to be able to buy every other form of car also. And unleash domestic energy
Wait. So that mandate, was that mandating that all vehicles, all EVs, all vehicles become either plug-in hybrids or actual EVs? I'm not familiar with this, actually. EV mandate. Okay, so this actually correlates here with what Donald Trump posted. So this was posted on September 7th, 2023. On September 20th, 2024, actually a year to the date, more like. A year later, this got posted by the AP. Says House backs measure to overturn Biden auto emissions rule that Republicans say would force EV sales. Interesting. It says the rule issued by the Environmental Protection Agency in March would impose the most ambitious standards ever in the United States to cut planet warming emissions from passenger vehicles. EPA issues new auto rules aimed at cutting carbon emissions, boosting electric vehicles and hybrids. The EPA said that under its final rule, the industry could meet its limits of 56% of new vehicle sales are electric by 2032. So what is this? Is this like an emissions regulation? There's a lot of talk about the new rule, but it doesn't really say what it is. The new rules relax initial tailpipe limits proposed last year, but eventually get close to the same strict standards set out by the EPA, but I don't know what those are. A little bit confusing there, the way that they worded that. But essentially, yeah, apparently like this was a thing. Maybe it's a bit dramatic to say that it was going to force all vehicles to be EVs. It did say that the EPA had a target of what was it, 56% of vehicles sold being EVs. So little dramatic there. But nonetheless, still a good thing that Donald Trump is going to, try to repeal this rule here.
Production like never before. But just think of it, energy independence 3 years ago, energy dominance was going to follow very shortly. We're going to pay off our debt. We're going to lower taxes for everybody.
Oh my goodness. Bro, Trump is someone that I want to like. But then occasionally he'll say things where it's like, bro, come on. And this is another one. Donald Trump does not care about the national debt. Let me repeat that. Donald Trump does not care about the national debt. He skyrocketed government spending and I believe the deficit during his presidency, even before COVID, certainly during COVID, but even before COVID. And not only that, there's no way we're going to sell enough oil in order to get rid of our debt. That is just a Looney Tunes fantasy. No way that that's happening. It does annoy me so much that both Trump and JD Vance try to posture as if either of them care about the national debt at all. They do not care.
And they ended that, immediately ended it. First day, they ended it. I will fully modernize the electric grid to prepare it for the next 100 years, implement rapid approvals for energy projects, and greenlight the construction of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of brand new, beautiful power plants that actually work. This will pave the way for an enormous growth in American wealth. In the future, every manufacturing plant,
60 frames per second.
every
That's
data
what's up.
center, every semiconductor facility and assembly line will want to be built in America. They're all going to want to be in America. So we're going to have the lowest cost of energy. It's a big factor. This will be the place where the cost of energy is lower than any place else on Earth, where the economy is stronger than any place else on Earth, and where the workers are the best, brightest, and most talented anywhere in the world. I want to thank you very much. We cannot let this man who is diminished mentally and physically, but much worse mentally, we cannot let him tell us what to do with our country. He has no clue. He can't put two sentences together. We have to make America great again, and we can't do it with a man who is severely diminished. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I actually agree with that, to be honest. So that's Donald Trump's position on and what he's going to do about energy. I'm looking forward to seeing him enact that policy once he comes into office. So yeah, I'll do more reactions to other stuff from Agenda 47, just because I think each of these videos sort of goes through exactly what we can expect from Donald Trump as a president. So I think it's important to go through these rather than fall for the hysterics of, oh, Trump is going to take away all the rights of women. They're not going to be allowed to drive anymore. Like, come on. Let's step out of Looney Tunes land for a second and come back to reality. Like your favorite political activist Eminem asked you to. Okay? All right.